buddy.
Yeah, man. Let's roll. Hey, good morning, Facebook. We got Facebook, we got LinkedIn, we got YouTube. This is the Bob Mortgage Live, the 91st episode of Bob Mortgage Live. And this morning, we are joined by Air Force vet, Texas realtor, Robert Sims, a.k.a. Realtor Rob. What's up, Realtor Rob? What's going on, man?
How
are you, sir?
Good morning. How you doing? Good morning, Facebook, Instagram, all of you guys out there.
Yeah, we're doing good, brother. We're doing really good. So happy to have you on the show this morning. How you doing out there? And you're in Fort Worth, right?
Yes, sir. We're doing good. I mean, we had power. We were without power and water for 2 days. We got it back. What was it? Wednesday, and it's been pretty consistent. I've been waiting to make sure it's not going to go out again, but we've been good. My wife's been boiling water. We're still under that advisory.
Yeah, we're under the same thing. We're over in Dallas, and we still have, boil water advisories, and it's crazy. I get confused on what I can use the right water for and what I can't. So there's always this great post that I go to that says, okay, if you're going to brush your teeth, you got to boil water, but if you're going to do laundry, you don't have to. And I'm like, okay, I get so confused.
Right.
Yeah, we're out. We're obviously power outages. All that stuff. I think we're calling this 2021 Snowmageddon at this point. It's
I've heard
pretty crazy what we got. But no power has been out. Our power, we don't have hot water. So it's kind of crazy. We're doing this makeshift Facebook Live. I love technology. We could be anywhere doing all this. But it's good to be on the show with you this morning. I'm glad you and your family's doing safe out there.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. I mean, there's still a lot of people without power. Mm-hmm. Yesterday, there was a school handing out water. We went and got some and handed it out to people in the area that couldn't get away from their house. So, yeah, there's still people suffering.
Yeah, I saw on your Facebook page. I mean, you're obviously sharing a lot of different places, warming centers, things like that are really important. Yeah, that's good. I mean, it's kind of nice to see how people will and do rally around their communities in times like this, because there are people that don't have, the means or the ability to get what they need to get to stay safe. And, for those that do, it's time that, we step up and make sure that they have the resources, they have the abilities, they have the things that they need to stay safe and to stay warm. So
yes,
I know Mayor Betsy Price has been doing a lot of good things and putting a lot of stuff out there as well. So that's good for the city of Fort Worth. So what else is going in your?
Yes, it's a village, and like I said, we're all in this together.
Yeah, and how's the? I guess now we can transition back into the pandemic stuff. I mean, we're still in the state of what people would consider a pandemic. How did that go for you? How did that transition with business and things that you do as a real estate agent?
Well, for me personally, that's why I have remained as a solo agent, because I can adapt to different situations. So I can work as a seller's agent, a buyer's agent, leasing, all of those. So how it's changed for me is, I take my wipes with me. I try to wipe down all the high contact areas. So the people that I'm showing my clients, I don't have to have them touch anything. I open up all the closets, the doors, and a lot of virtual showings.
Yeah, I got to believe that's definitely changed the game for you as a real estate agent. The virtual showings. I mean, you had to. I don't know if you were doing that before, or you maybe were, but not as frequently as what you're doing them now. So, kind of talk a little bit about how that changed the game for you as an agent.
Well, I would share virtual showings, but now I'm doing a lot more individual, virtual showings where I'll be the one behind the camera and giving the tour and reading off the descriptions that they put in the MLS and things like that. I guess it's more of a personal tour instead of just sharing what somebody else has put out there.
And your clients, they're good with that. They've adapted as well, and they're getting very comfortable with the virtual tours.
Oh, of course. I mean, it's just a sign of the time. You have to adapt and overcome. So, we all know that we're in a seller's market. So if you want to see a house, that's the way that you're going to see it, virtually right now, for the
Right.
most part.
Now, once they identify that they really like that home from a virtual standpoint, are you then setting up an actual showing where they can see the house in person, or are you finding that a lot of the clients that you have are just good with only the virtual showing before they make the offer?
Well, a lot of them would still like to see it in person once they narrow it down. So that's why it kind of, backing up a little bit, that's why it's so important to get that pre-approval first, because then you can let the sellers know that you're a serious buyer.
Right.
They
Yeah.
don't want a lot of foot traffic through their house during these times, just with what I call looky loos. So you get
Right.
that pre-approval, you say, hey, I got a serious buyer. They've looked at the virtual tour, now they want to see it in person. They're ready to move on to the next level.
Okay. All right. That's perfect. I love, I love, kind of how we've adapted and changed and all that kind of stuff over time. And technology has given us the ability to do that. And I mean, like you said, as a single agent, you're able to quickly overcome and adapt to whatever the market is throwing at you so that you could ultimately better serve your client. It sounds like that's exactly what you're doing.
Yes, yes, sir. So, and you always look for, what makes you different than another real estate agent. So I have to give credit to my wife. One of her many hats, she set us up while I was in the military for us to be self-sufficient in living in our current, quality of life off of my retirement. So I don't have to sell houses. I come at this as a point of educating and helping people, achieve their dream of home ownership, you know. So that's how I look at it. So it's no pressure, low threat.
So you're focused more on the educational side, and that's how you're serving your potential home buyers and your current clients and past clients is just really through the educational channel.
Yes, sir. Actually, one of my hashtags is I want you to know what I know. So anything I'm reading, I'm sharing it, whatever. I mean, that's why I have so much content, because if I read it, hear it, see it, I'm sharing it with you.
Oh, I love that. I mean, content is king, and consistent content is what ultimately drives your audience to really fall in love with the stuff that you are putting out there. And ultimately, that's when they decide if they're looking to buy or sell. That's when they're going to decide to choose you, because they feel it's almost like they feel obligated because you've done so much for them in the educational side that they really do. They feel obligated to at least give you that opportunity to earn their business, because you've been doing it all along by just giving them information without ever asking them for anything in exchange.
There you go. I mean, and it's just they have to know that you really care about them and their situation and helping them, achieve their dream of, home ownership. So that's what I try to do.
So now you're a Air Force vet, is that right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Air Force.
Yeah,
Right, but Air Force.
I
I
see.
have my shadow box in the back here that my
I
wife
see
did
all
for
the
me.
shadow box. That's a lot of medals. So
Did all
tell me a
right.
little bit about that. I mean, you because I know we were going to talk about some VA
Yes.
questions and VA home loan type stuff, and obviously I'm going to make a big assumption here that this is why this is really important to you, because you are a veteran yourself. But kind of tell me about that experience. Whatever you want to share from the Air Force, what got you into it, what you're doing now, as far as educating veterans yourself, and then why you're wanting to put a big emphasis on helping more veterans buy a home.
Well, for one, like you said, I am a veteran, so it's very near and dear to my heart. And when I got out, they have programs. Ours is for the Air Force was called TAP, TAP, Transition Assistance Program. So they go over tons of stuff. It's drinking out of a fire hose. So they may have gone over all of this stuff, but I'm thinking about becoming a civilian So it's just right over my head.
I've heard that a lot.
Yes, yes. And for that reason, I wasn't educated on my VA benefits. I didn't know how to obtain them, what was needed to get them. And it cost me, I wasn't able to use it on my first one, and a lot of us realtors, I'll speak for myself, our industry aren't steering people in that direction that have that benefit.
And they're probably not steering them into that direction because they are just fearful because they don't know enough about it. You feel like?
Correct. Yes, correct.
Okay.
And so that's part of it too, as well. Educating other realtors, educating my clients, even educating the folks selling.
Yeah, there's a lot of misconceptions about VA home loans and the cost or the appraisal process, or people just think it's more difficult because they're not putting money down. They see a VA contract with no money down and they think it's a high risk proposition or high risk loan that could potentially be declined, right? I mean, I think there's a lot of misconceptions around VA financing, and I mean, I know you said you are going to have some questions for me, so I'll whenever you want to go into that, I'm prepared for that. But yeah, just keep kind of going down the stream of conversation around, your experience getting out, and then just kind of where it's taken you and where it's led you, and how you feel that how important, I guess, the VA homeowner and seller is in your world.
Okay, because I get a lot of questions, and I tell them I try to stay in my lane. I'm the realtor. We go shopping. We do this fun stuff. I want to leave the hard stuff to you, Bob, and they can hear it straight from the horse's mouth.
Well, I think we both have equally as tough jobs when we have a client, especially a client that's never gone through the home purchase process, the home buying process. And so there's a lot of emotions and a lot of questions that we have to answer. And really, truthfully, as the experts in this business, for both you and I, we need to be able to see around the corners. They don't know what's coming around that corner. So we need to be able to see around the corner. And that just basically means know what the questions that they should be answering or asking, and providing answers to them before they actually ask it. So this is one way we do it, right? We do it through a Q&A session, and that's kind of where we are. So if you got some questions, man, fire away, and I'll do my best.
All right, this is going to be like speed dating. I'm going to just throw out the questions, but at the end, we're not going on a date, Bob. The match is going to be made between, my clients and their dream home. So here we go.
All right, let's go.
Okay, so I'm discharged from the military. I have a DD-214. How do I go about getting a COE that I'm hearing about, and what is that?
Okay, so if you're discharged from the military and we're going to do a VA home loan, what you're going to do is you're going to get me a copy of that DD-214. And then from there, I will go to the VA website and I will be able to obtain your certificate of eligibility. That's what a COE is, certificate of eligibility. And basically that gives me the understanding of what branch of service you were in. It tells me your entitlement as far as how much money that you have the ability to borrow. It tells me if there's any other liens that were out there that are encumbering the entitlement. So it would show me how much available entitlement is there. So it's the document that we're going to use to set up the amount of money that you're going to be able to have the ability to borrow. Now the veteran still has to qualify, but that does give us the ability to know what loan amount is going to be available.
Awesome. So you can get that for the veteran?
Absolutely. We get it for the veteran. It takes minutes.
Okay, that was my next question. See, you're already thinking around the corner. Awesome. Now, I also want to throw in there too, for the veterans, you also have access to get it yourself, a website called eBenefits. So get very familiar with that. If you already have access, call me. I can show you where to find it. If you don't, go there and make sure you have login.
So what's a good number for them to call you at, Rob?
You can reach me at 682-207-2477.
One more time.
682 207 2477.
Cool. Yeah, that's a good website for them to be able to go to. If that's if they want to get it beforehand. But if you don't have it, don't worry about it. We'll be able to get that for you with your DD214.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, and these questions are no particular order, but my next one is, so my great grandfather served, so you can imagine it was a long time ago. Does he still have his VA benefits, or did they expire?
Yeah, VA benefits are not going to expire. For VA eligibility, right? We're still gonna get the same things. The DD214, the certificate of eligibility, find out what their eligibility is as far as for loan amount purposes. But no, they're not gonna expire. I've had people that are 70, 80 years old, use their VA eligibility.
Okay, awesome. Right into the next one. So VA benefits for my first house when I got into the military. I had a family that I started. So did I lose my entitlement?
No, if you bought your first home, let's say, and you used your VA eligibility. Now, if you ended up, let's say, selling the house, and now you want to come back years later, or months later, or days later, and then apply to get another VA loan, then we just show that previous loan has been paid off, and then that eligibility gets restored, and then now you can use your full benefits for the next purchase that you want to make. So you don't, if you use it, you don't lose it. It's just a matter of is that previous loan already sold and paid off, or is it still outstanding? Because there's a different process. If it's sold, then we just prove the sell, and then get the eligibility restored, and then you're good to go.
Okay, that's awesome news, because I get that question a lot too. I've already used it. They have no idea that, it's reusable.
Yeah, no, yeah, absolutely. It definitely is. You could use it multiple times.
Okay. Now, with the VA benefits, is there a minimum credit score associated with that?
So VA themselves, they don't establish a minimum credit score. It's pretty much left up to us as investors, lenders that are making the loans. And what we found in today's world, especially even coming out of the pandemic and into what we're experiencing today, most that we're finding is minimum of a 620 or higher credit score to be able to get a VA loan. Now, before COVID and before that, the COVID pandemic and everything, we did have options that were allowing us to go under 620 and down to 580 on VA. But with that, the pandemic and everything, it pretty much tightened up and squeezed up to a minimum of a 620 and higher. Now, just so everybody knows that, you have 3 credit scores. You have one with TransUnion, one with Experian, and one with Equifax. Okay. So which one do we use? Do we average it, or do we just pick one? And so the correct answer, guys, is we throw out the high score, we throw out the low score, and we use the mid score. So we don't care which bureau it's with, it's just going to be the mid score. So if the mid score ends up being with Equifax, that's the one that we're going to go with. Okay? So that's really, really important to remember. Now, if 2 people are on the loan, then it's going to be the lowest of the 2 mid scores. So if one has a 720 and one has a 650, then we're going to use the 650 for qualifying purposes. Okay, so, but, to answer the question in speed dating, speed question answer, it's going to be 620.
I like it.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, since you expanded on that a little bit, I have another, piggyback question about credit. So I have run into clients before that have already had their credit run by a lender. Is there a time period, because we always go shopping for cars when we're doing a lot of stuff, but people don't shop around when they get loans. So is there a time period that they can shop for loans where it won't drop their score too much?
Yeah, what we found is typically it's about 45 days that you're able to have a couple of credit pulls on
Okay.
your credit report, where it's not going to negatively impact your credit score. Basically, it just shows up technically as one hard pull on the credit report, even though that you may have two or three different lenders pulling it. Outside of the 45-day window, then it would show up as another hard pull. But let's understand, there's a lot of misconceptions about hard pulls and everything. It's not going to drop your credit score 20 points because somebody, a lender will pull your credit report. You may not see any drop. You may see a drop of 2 to 4 points. That's realistic. It's not a 20-point decrease. I have people that tell me, I don't want a hard pull. Well, then you don't want a loan. You can tell me what you think your credit score is, but most of the time people don't even know the credit score that we pull is going to be different than the credit scores they're seeing, because they're like, well, I got a 700 or I got a 640 credit score. Well, that's great. You got a 640 credit score. Where did you see that? Well, I saw it on Credit Karma or freecreditreport.com or my apps, right? Well, that's not going to be the same credit score we're going to get when we pull it, because they're different algorithms that are used for a mortgage credit report that are used for those credit free credit report places, right? And those are great places to monitor your credit, to stay on top of it, to make sure that everything's going the way you want it to. But it's going to be a different score. That's why a lender really needs to pull a credit report. The second part is we can't really issue a pre-approval, right, without having a credit report, because a pre-approval means we've fully vetted your income, your assets, your credit, the big 3 C's to getting a loan: credit, cash, and capacity, right? That's your credit, that's your cash, and that's your ability to repay. The capacity piece is. So we have to have a credit report to actually get that pre-approval, which I know is what you need, Realtor Rob, to be able to get them into a house to be able to write a contract. Is that correct?
That is correct. And this brings me to another one. That is the difference between a pre-qualification and a pre-approval. Is that correct as well?
Oh, definitely, 100%. A pre-qualification is merely them giving me the information. Oh, hey, I make $8,000 a month. I have $800 in debt. I have a 720 credit score. I have $10,000 in the bank. Well, based on what you're telling me, yeah, you're pre-qualified to buy a home. But I'll be honest with you, I would never write a contract on a pre-qualification. And as a seller, you should never accept a contract that's only been pre-qualified. The pre-approval is that next step, which is I, as the lender, have actually verified everything that you told me or put into the online system is accurate. Right? Because they can even make an application and still consider it pre-qualified, and I could pull a credit report and still have it be pre-qualified. What makes it a pre-approval is that I've actually looked at pay stubs, I've looked at W-2s, I've looked at tax returns, we've looked at bank statements to ensure that all the deposits are correct and there's no large deposits canceling out any of the money that we want to use. We've looked at all these things to ensure that ultimately at the end of the day, when we issue that pre-approval and you write that contract, we are going to be good to close and fund that.
Awesome. I appreciate it.
Hey, Brandon, right quick.
Pre-approval is the way to go.
Yes, sir. Hey, Brandon, right quick. You're behind the scenes. I know you may be able to hear us, but there was a Facebook question that came up from, I believe, John. Yeah, so John, here's a question. John asked, my wife and I are both veterans. We used her benefit to buy the home we are in now. If we're ready to move, can I use my benefit to purchase our new home before we sell our current home? John, great question. Thank you so much for putting that out there on Facebook, sir. So first off, thank you so much for your service and everything for you and your wife, both of you guys. Yes, you can purchase the next home before you sell your current home. We just need to look at what we would do is still the same process. We would get your certificate of eligibility, and then we would find out how much eligibility would be left. VA has basically an eligibility worksheet that we put it into that will help us determine how much of your eligibility is still encumbered, and then what would be left over to use for your next purchase. So you guys can do it. It just takes a little bit of work on our end, and we'd be able to get that information to you. So if you want to reach out to Rob and maybe get us a certificate of eligibility and everything, we can kind of look that up for you and tell you what you'll have available. So appreciate that, John.
I was raising my hand too. I didn't want to disturb you. So I actually served with John. So good to see you again, John. He took care of me. We served together, Edwards Air Force Base in California.
Nice. Well, that's awesome, man.
Small world.
Okay, well, let's keep going. That's good stuff. All right. What do we got next?
All right. So I'm looking at my questions because you know me, I'll get off talking. I'll be like, oh, pretty bird. So here we go.
I call that squirrel.
Squirrel, there you go. Okay, so can I build a home with a VA loan?
Yeah, you can build a home. So there's two different ways that people go by about building homes. There's the process where you'll go to a builder, a tract builder that's going to be able to build the house, and then they're going to look to somebody like us to provide the final financing, right? So they're going to build the home, and then they're going to say, hey, BobMortgage, will you guys be able to take out this the construction piece and provide the final loan to the client? And in that case, yeah, we would look at it just like we would on an existing home. We would just make sure the buyer's qualified for the end loan when the home is complete for VA purposes. But there's also a VA one-time close product that exists for those smaller, mid-size custom builders that don't want to handle the construction financing themselves. They're looking to us to be able to provide turnkey financing. And that's a VA one-time close where we will provide the construction loan up front as well as the permanent loan and put all that in place the day that they want to start building. So again, to answer the question, yes, you can use your VA loan for a construction purpose.
That was perfect because I talked to a lot of people that asked me that question, and I just say yes. They want to know why, so I appreciate you expanding on that answer and let them know why it is a yes. So
yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. There's VA is a very there's a lot of guidelines, a lot of review that we go through on VA loans, just because it's such a big loan and there's a lot of requirements, service entitlements, and when you can use your VA eligibility and everything. So we just reference back to those guidelines, and I think this is one of those answers where the simple answer is yes, but there's a lot of different ways to get to that yes, and I wanted to make sure it was clear on that.
Yes, well, I appreciate that. So that rolls into the next one. So can you use your VA for an investment property?
No, unfortunately for VA, I mean, the way that they've established it is your VA is only utilized for primary residences. So the veteran must occupy that property within 60 days of purchase. So no second homes, no investment properties, just owner-occupant primary residences.
Okay. So I had a gentleman tell me that I've heard that the VA loan process is more expensive than other types, FHA conventional. Is that true?
Absolutely not. It's not more expensive at all. VA, first off, has, and I guess you had to define expense, but VA has no down payment, right? So the veteran does not have to put a down payment down. And then all they would have would be their closing costs and their escrows, which escrows is typically your 1 year homeowner's insurance policy, 3 months worth of homeowner's insurance, and 3 months worth of property taxes. And then just your traditional closing costs. Now, for veterans that we finance through BobMortgage, I mean, we don't have any, we don't charge any underwriting fees. We don't charge any admin fees, technology fees, any of those, the lender fees that are out there. We waive all those for our veterans. Oh, absolutely. It's the least we can do. So that makes it obviously least expensive because those on the FHA or conventional side, those aren't given waivers for us. But then, for VA, they also have a significantly lower, in most cases, lower interest rates based on certain credit scores than what you can potentially even get with conventional financing. They still provide for very low interest rates with credit scores 620, 625, 630, where the conventional financing, it ends up being higher financing. And then there are opportunities for veterans that do have a disability rating, let's say of 100%, right? If they do have a 100% disability rating, then they could get two things removed. One, which is the VA funding fee, right, which they have that is charged up front and rolled into the loan. And then they could also get, here in the state of Texas, a waiver of property taxes. So that saves them, yes, it saves them significantly.
Come to Texas.
I mean, that's thousands, $5,000, $10,000 easily a year that they're saving potentially on property taxes, depending on the sales price of the home. And that funding fee is significant, that is waived. And there's other ways. I mean, like if you were a Purple Heart recipient, that you could also get a waiver of the funding fee. So there's different things that make that VA loan significantly less expensive than those that are choosing to go FHA or conventional. But at the end of the day, we'll do a full comparison and analysis for that client, and we can show them those 2 or 3 loans side by side. So if a veteran wants to see what a VA loan looks like compared to an FHA compared to a conventional based on their personal specific situation, then I'll provide that analysis to them and show them which one saves them the most money over the period of time they're going to keep the house. Right? Some veterans, it could be 5 years, it could be 15 years, it could be 30 years. I just want to make sure they're getting the best loan with the lowest total cost of ownership.
Awesome. Okay.
Appreciate that.
I have another myth buster for you. So what is the average time it takes to close a home, with the VA? Because I've heard that, 2 months, is just too long.
No, man. Heck no. I mean, they're 30 days or less. I mean, there's no difference. I mean, we're closing these loans in 30 days or less consistently month after month. The biggest difference is just the appraisal process with VA, and you may have questions that you have in there. I don't know about the VA appraisal process, but that would be the only difference between an FHA or a conventional as to how long it takes to close a VA loan, because the VA appraiser has 10 days to deliver that appraisal to us, and that sometimes is about the same timing that it's taking right now to get FHA and conventional because of demand. There's so many loans being done, and appraisers are pretty maxed out. So we're seeing 7 to 10 day appraisal turn times anyway. So they're kind of getting more in line with what VA is, because VA is 10 days. Okay. But we could absolutely close a VA loan in 30 days or less.
Okay. Awesome. So myth busted on that one. So I do have an appraiser question, so it leads right into that. So do we have FHA appraisers, conventional appraisers, and VA appraisers?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. And some of them are approved to do both. I mean, a VA appraiser can be approved to do other appraisals, but we can't just order through our normal appraisal panel. We can't just order a VA appraisal. We have to go directly to VA to make that request and that order, and they assign it to a VA approved appraiser that is local and close in proximity to that property address. Okay,
and the reason why I asked that question, I'm glad that you said that, because some of the appraisers are dual-hatted or triple-hatted. So you can get you can get an FHA appraiser doing a VA because he's approved to do that. So his mindset is going to be the same. They just think, the VA is just, chip paint, fail. He's the same FHA appraiser.
If you got chipping and peeling paint, it's going to be required on FHA or VA regardless, right? If you have a bad roof, if you have a bad roof, it's going to be required on all three products: conventional, FHA, VA, regardless, even USDA. If you have structural issues, it's going to be required on all appraisals, right? I mean, there's minor differences between, the difference between, let's say, conventional and FHA, VA. I mean, it is chipping and peeling paint. It is centered around, like, is the house livable and can it be occupied on the day that the veteran closes? Meaning, does it have running water and toilets and a refrigerator and a stove? I mean, those are things and necessities that a veteran's going to have when they move into a house. And so, yeah, the VA FHA appraiser is going to be looking for things like that to ensure, where the conventional may allow you to not have, the toilets installed or things like that they can overlook, or a stove, right? I mean, they can overlook those types of things, but in the FHA or VA world, those need to be installed.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Okay, so next question. So, if I had a foreclosure using my VA loan, did I lose my entitlement?
No, you didn't lose the entitlement. I mean, we have to see what the loss was that was taking on that foreclosure, and then that's going to encumber some of that leftover remaining entitlement. So we would go back to your eligibility, which it would show, a certificate of eligibility, which would show, your eligibility, your foreclosure. We would then put it into our eligibility entitlement worksheet, and then it would tell us specifically how much eligibility that they would have left over. So it doesn't prohibit you from using your VA loan again. It just may encumber or reduce the amount of eligibility that you have available.
Now, with that being said, can you restore it?
Yeah, I mean, it can be restored. I mean, absolutely. I mean, it definitely can be restored. Okay. So I mean, it's not that it's the end of the world and you can't do anything about it. There are ways to get that thing restored.
Right. Okay, awesome. That's the main thing right there. You can, get your full entitlement back, through various processes. Okay, so does the VA itself issue loans? Can I just go to the VA and get a loan?
Yeah, you actually can. You could go directly to the VA and get a loan. It's going to be a much longer process, and that's probably where a lot of the myths come from. It's going to take them 50, 60, 90 days to close a loan. But you can go there directly to get it. But they are predominantly focused on helping, put loans. I mean, let lenders like ourselves that have the ability to navigate the waters and be able to put loans together a lot quicker, and then they would just guarantee the loan on our behalf, right? So they basically allow us to put the loans together for them. But you could go directly to the VA if you wanted to.
Okay. Right. All right. So this is my $1 million question right here. What is the Tidewater Initiative? That's my $1 million
question. Okay. Well, it's actually something, I mean, it's really good. So the Tidewater Initiative is really focused on from an appraisal standpoint. So this kind of gets back into the appraisal question. So when an appraiser delivers a conventional or FHA appraisal, we make the order, and then 7 to 10 days later, they send us the appraisal. And then we find out, did it meet value? And is it subject to any conditions, or is it as is, meaning there's no repair requirements that are required? Well, VA implemented a Tidewater initiative, which is allowing the appraiser to reach out to us as the lender to let us know before they deliver the appraisal to us that they're struggling with comps, let's say, to get to the value that we need them to get to for the purchase price of that home. and they're saying, hey guys, you're selling the house, or the house is being sold for 300,000. I'm only seeing, 290. Just wanted to give everybody the heads up. You have 48 hours to provide us additional information, comps, things of that nature that could help us get that value that you guys were looking for on the home. And then what we do as a lender is we go to the agents and say, hey guys, just FYI, we're in a Tidewater on the appraisal, and we need some additional information. Obviously, you guys did your due diligence when you listed the home and when you obviously agreed to purchase the home to know that that home is worth $300,000. Could you provide us the data, the comparable sales that you were using to justify that price? I need to get that to the VA appraiser. Get that back to me within 24 hours. And then the agents prepare all that data, get it to us, we get it to the appraiser, and then they could use that information because they may not have that information handy. It may be information that wasn't listed properly on the MLS. It may have been an off sell. And so what they're just saying is, help me help you guys, with this deal so that I can get all the relevant data so that I could give everybody a proper appraisal. And it's great. I mean, I wish it was that way for conventional and FHA, because sometimes we'll get an appraisal in and we're like, holy crap, it's down $5,000 or $7,000 or whatever. And, then we're scrambling to do a rebuttal after the fact. And it's the difference between reaction and proactive, being proactive, right? I would much rather be proactive and work with that appraiser and the agents that way within a 48-hour time period than reactive when we get the appraisal and now we're trying to figure out how the heck they came up with the value, and then we have to go through a rebuttal process then at that point. So VA I love it. It's a great appraisal initiative through Tidewater.
Yes, that's awesome, because I never even heard of that before, coming into the business. It seems like they go above and beyond to take that extra step to make sure that we get, the appraisal that we're trying to get. So,
yeah,
but you knocked it out of the park.
I completely agree, man. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you. Is that everything? You got everything?
That's it. I have to be tougher next time.
Nah, dude, you're good, man. It's all good. And these are great questions. These come from obviously questions that you've gotten answered, or maybe have asked yourself as a veteran, going through the process, or, talking to different clients. So I'm glad that you took the time to prepare it. I appreciate you asking me to answer these. These are they're stuff that every veteran needs to know. So tell me, I'll put one out there. Why do you feel? Yeah, tee it up. I'm gonna throw a softball at you. You're gonna hit it out of the park here, brother. So why is it important as a veteran that you feel? you should use a realtor that is a veteran.
To me, I think to me and other veterans, it's obvious. You want somebody who's been through what you're going through, have been through, that can sympathize with you, empathize with you. They speak your lingo, the jargon. It's just that you guys are on the same page. I can say, hey, this is what happened to me. This is what I was told. This is what I went through. And I can let you know, hey, whether that was true, whether it's still like that, or no, we've had changes to make it better in this aspect. And I can just help navigate them through the process. So the mistakes that I made, or when I was uneducated, I can make it a smoother process for them.
Yeah, I think that's cool, because when we talk about personal experiences, I share a lot of my personal experiences with social media, with clients, because it's stuff that I truly lived through, and I feel that those experiences can help other people. So I think that is a big reason why a veteran should support your veteran realtors, because you went through the same things they did. You went through the discharge. What'd you call that? That was the What was that
The
process that you went
transition
through?
assistance program. That's what the Air Force
Yeah,
calls it. TAP.
TAP. There you go. You went through TAP, and you knew what you were thinking about. You were thinking about being a civilian and getting on with your life and all that stuff,
Yes.
and you weren't focused on the things that they were going through. So every veteran that I've talked to said the same thing. They had no clue what to do, and they weren't listening. And now they're
Right.
trying to figure out how to use the eligibility. So it's good. So I like that. Now, what separates? I mean, truthfully, what would separate you from other realtors out there? I mean, what makes you unique and what makes you different?
Well, like I said when we first started, I mean, I don't have to do real estate. This is not, I guess I can say, this is not a career for me. This is a mission. I want to help as many people as possible, achieve their dream of home ownership. You know, my wife and I have set it up, with investments, partially through real estate, buying and selling homes, when we PCS to go into different locations and, having that veteran income, as long as I keep breathing, I keep getting those checks. So I can approach clients with no pressure. They can ask me questions, we can go as fast or as slow as they want to go. I'm here for them. And that's why, like I said, education is the key for me. So anything that I read, I'm not trying to withhold any information. I put it out there so you can be educated. You can make an educated decision. You can ask me an educated question. And it's no shame in my game. If you ask me something and I don't know it, I'll call Bob, I'll call phone a friend, whoever, we'll learn together, so I'm not trying to sell anybody. I'm trying to facilitate the process. So by the time you talk to me, you've pretty much made up your mind whether you want to sell or buy. I'm just trying to help you through that process. That's my goal.
Well, I think that's awesome, man. I mean, it's living the mission. It's helping as many people as you can. I love the educational part that you're focused on, Rob. I mean, that is key. That's my business. It falls right in line with what you're doing. The more that we can give to people, the better off that those will be, and then ultimately that helps us reach our goals. So yeah, man, I'm so glad. I appreciate you being on the 91st episode of Bob Mortgage Live. We're getting close to 100, man. I'm getting pretty excited about that. So this is the 91st episode.
Wow.
A lot of good relationships have been developed through these lives. A lot of good connections have been made with our people to your people and vice versa, because it's going to be put out there on social media. This is on right now on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. We'll have some, we went live a little bit for Instagram, and then we'll splice this up and we'll start cutting these down into micro pieces of content, because these Q&A pieces are really good to not just live on this one live feature that's now like 49 minutes, but we'll splice them into like 1 minute, 2 minute type micro pieces. That way, more people can get these answers in a short, condensed format, because we know their attention spans may not be 49 minutes or an hour long, right?
Right. And that's why these are so important, because a lot of people, I've been figuring out or finding out that a lot of people are more receptive to just clicking on the video, getting the information that they need and going on about their day. So if we can do, 10 video series on education, they can click on VA loan, they can click on FHA, loan product, USDA, and, get themselves educated without feeling the pressure, for lack of a better word, of them calling somebody and being sold something, so I love this.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, I want to thank you for your service, everything that you've done and continue to do for our country. And the things that you're doing right now with just, putting out as much content as you can, even during the Snowmageddon and helping people know where they need to go for warming centers and things like that. It's not just about being a realtor. It's about being a good servant within your community. You're definitely doing just that. So thank you for all of your continued service. And, I look forward to helping you grow and seeing how we can share our content with you and your content with your community, because I know you have a lot of big things to accomplish, and you're gonna continue to overcome and adapt, and I see you trending really high in this industry.
All right.
So
All right.
I look forward to it, Rob. I appreciate everybody joining us on this 91st episode. If there's anything else that we can answer for you, please feel free to reach out. I'm sure Brandon will put our contact information up. And then you'll start to see these things in micro pieces of content down the road. But until then, love it, man. Rob, take care. Have a beautiful and blessed Friday. And we'll see you on the flip side. Cheers.
All right.